typically landlords want 2.5 to 3 times the amount of rent. And if you're on SSI or SSDI,
you're out of luck.
Right, you're out of luck. But you still have guaranteed money that's coming in. So for me, it was like, I didn't have to find a problem. I saw what the problem was and how do I create a solution for it versus trying to like recreate the wheel.
Hey guys, my name is Abba Sylvie and I'm a real estate agent here in the Columbus, Ohio area. Today I have Darcie Keith with us. She's a real estate agent as well with Take a Look Real Estate. She is an investor, a shared housing, manager?
Shared housing provider.
A shared housing provider and also a multifamily specialist. So I invited her today here to talk about what she does, how she got into it, and I just really like her unique position in the market as an investor because not everyone is doing what she is doing, but a lot of people, I think, after this video will be taking interest. So Darcie, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you end up in the real estate world?
I ended up in the real estate world because I decided that I did not want to be an attorney. So I moved to Dayton because I got accepted to the University of Dayton Accelerated Law School program.
Nice.
But I quickly realized that I just liked learning about the law and writing things, and I didn't really want to practice it.
Okay.
So I'd studied in 2008, 2009 for my real estate, and those classes last for 10 years. And if you don't take your test in the decade, then you lose everything.
Yeah.
So when I decided to withdraw from law school and pursue real estate, that was like right at the 10-year mark. So I had to hurry up and like study and pass and get my license. And I did it the first time. Thank goodness.
Nice.
So,
okay. Congrats.
So thank you.
Okay. So you got your real estate license. Did you go into like the traditional buying and selling right away, or what led you to basically owning multifamily units?
So I wanted to get my license just so I could have investment properties myself. I initially wasn't like, I didn't have a big scope of things. I just wanted to like do fix and flips and buy and holds and just kind of provide jobs in the community for contractors and things like that. But I quickly realized that I could scale by helping other people with investment properties too. So that's kind of what sparked it. I think my second sale was to an investor that was out of state, and they wanted to purchase a home as a rental. So I quickly got into property management.
So you sold that person the home, and then you took over managing that property.
Yeah, they never even saw it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was just looking at pictures online, and it was beautiful. So I went and toured it, did a video walkthrough, and we did an inspection and all that. And they'd never even been to the property.
How is property management, that side of real estate, different from your transaction that people are used to, where it's like someone lists their home on the market and then the other person buys it off of them, and that type of one-on-one transaction?
Yeah. So for like investors and property management versus like traditional home buyers, it's a lot different because investors typically buy something for the numbers and the amount of money that it's going to make because they want a return on their investment. So they don't care about this paint color or what this floor looks like. They care about how much money is this going to bring me after I've invested money in my down payment and all that versus a home buyer. They care. What does the wall look like? This flooring is garbage. I don't like this house at all. So, and like I said, my second sale was for an investor that had never even been here. So I don't have to go pop open a bunch of doors and tour things. It's just we buy things based on numbers. So it makes it easier. And they also are repeat clients because they buy one thing and they see a return. They get something else. And then they get something else. They refinance one of those, pull money out to get something else versus a home buyer. You just live there.
Yeah. Usually. And also too, so that's what's nice. And I do like working with investor clients as well, because they become repeat clients very quickly. And once they feel like they can trust you, like you're going to be their go-to person every single time. So like I have an investor client, I think he's like, when I met him, he might have had 4 or 5 houses, and now he's built his portfolio up to like 10 houses and counting.
Right.
And so he's always like, don't worry, Ava, the next one's coming.
Right.
You're going to be the first person to know how to find something. So
Yep.
I just love that type of relationship. And so, I definitely love working with investors. And I also am an investor myself as well.
Mhm.
I have a 4-unit property down by Children's Hospital. They're all 1-bedroom, 1-bath units. And our model is we're geared towards like travel nurse housing. So basically people who are really traveling in the healthcare field are the people that typically find us because of our proximity to the major hospitals here in the city. And so that's been really nice because they're very low maintenance clients, low maintenance tenants, and I like working with them in that aspect.
Okay.
And I know you also have your own, you said you ended up getting your own property as well, and you're doing something a little bit different than I am. You're doing shared housing. So tell us a little bit more about what that is and how that looks like.
So that looks different from what you do with the traveling nurses because I'm assuming yours are like more short-term stays and maybe the hospital pays for their stay or something like that. They get a
stipend.
So with shared housing, it is different because it's kind of like a group home, but you don't have all of the oversight of like the state. You don't have to have a 501c3 and all of those things. It's like, I kind of like to explain it as like almost like a college dorm. Like if you have a house that has 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom in it and it's on a college campus, you're going to rent that out to 3 different students and they're all going to share together.
Exactly.
So, and that's kind of what like shared housing is. So like different people live in the bedrooms and then they share like the common space.
Okay.
And then a lot of my tenants are typically like SSI, SSDI, something like so, like
Social Security, social, disability,
things like that.
Gotcha.
So they still get a stipend, but it's just from a different resource.
Okay. So. And how did you get into that market? Because that's very niche too. Like, I don't really know anyone else that's doing that. I know people have talked about doing that, but no one else that's actually doing it right now in that space.
I started it because, from doing like property management. So I had, like I said, I first started with 1 and then I scaled to about 200 units.
Oh, okay.
And then, and I just saw, obviously there's a need for affordable housing and then having like a rental criteria, typically like landlords want 2.5 to 3 times the amount of rent. And if you're on SSI or SSDI,
you're out of luck.
Right. You're out of luck. So where are you going to live? But you still have guaranteed money that's coming in. So, so for me, it was like finding, like, I didn't have to find a problem. I saw what the problem was and how do I create a solution for it versus trying to like recreate the wheel. So,
okay, nice. Yeah. And I think that's really cool because I think a lot of people get hung up on like, oh, they have to be making this 2.5 to 3 times the amount. But I mean, with the way things are today, that's just really hard for anybody to do right now and stuff. So I think being a property manager and an investor, we have to have like a balance and a reality check to be like, hey, what is going to work? Like, how can I guarantee like I'm going to see something, but also have a humane aspect towards the business that can also help people stay housed, which is really important. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many properties do you yourself own right now?
So in my personal name, I only own 1.
Okay.
So it's moreover, I mean, you shouldn't really own a lot of stuff in your name.
Okay. Yeah. So you ended up opening an LLC then to like?
Yes. Multiples.
So, okay. Nice. So why made you choose like having multiple LLCs versus having just one LLC that buys everything?
So there's I guess a few different ways to answer that. So it's like, it depends on like your structure and what you want and how you want to scale. So like I had an LLC that was just for property management and then one that would just be for shared housing. And then others that own properties. So it's just kind of like a way to, what's the word? Not pierce the corporate veil or whatever. So keeping things like separate that way, if there's ever something, it's like, oh, well, there's just this asset
under that name. Yeah. So if you guys don't know and you're trying to get into investing, the reason why you don't want to get a ton of properties in your personal name is if there's any issues, for example, with like the IRS and taxes, they're going to come after you, everything that's in your name, right? So if you have all these properties in your name and there's an issue with one of them, they're going to seize all your assets. But if you can split it up and put it into different LLCs, like she mentioned, then they can only go after what is attached to that LLC name or your personal name. So those that are thinking about investing, that is something to think about. So what is some advice that you would give to someone that wants to get into the investing game, but they don't know really how to start?
I would first contact a licensed professional. So a lot of times people will just watch something on YouTube and then YouTube University, and then they start and they end up losing and wasting a bunch of money because they didn't have a professional to help them. So like when you think about just like personal care for yourself, if you hurt your foot, you're going to go to what, a podiatrist? Is that who? So same thing with like real estate. You're not going to call your heart doctor if you want to buy a house.
Right.
You call a real estate agent. So that way we can give you the proper guidance in like whatever it is that you're doing, because there's multiple ways to structure things.
And nothing against YouTube, actually, that I get a lot of information from there as well. But it's a good starting point, but you still want to partner with someone that actually has been in the space. Because people, there are real estate agents who do sell houses, but they don't really know how to look at it from an investing standpoint.
Not at all.
If you're working with an agent and you say, hey, I want to know what my ROI is and I want to know what the cap rate is, if your agent doesn't understand those two terms, that's not a person that you probably want to be using for investment. Investment properties specifically. And then another bit of advice that I would give is, if you're trying to get into the investment game, I think a good way to start is buy the house like for yourself. So if you can buy a house and you own it yourself, then you can come in as an owner occupant and do the 3.5% down. If you buy a property that's outside, that you're not living in, you're looking at putting at least 25% down in most cases. So that's another piece of advice I would give to people that want to get into investing. Buy something for yourself first, and that you can come in at a low down payment, and then you can either rent out rooms, you can rent out the basement, depending on what your property is structured like. You don't have to buy a single family home. You can do a multiplex. So a multiplex is anything that's basically anything between 2 to 4 units is considered a residential housing. Anything that's more than that is commercial housing. Correct? Yeah. So those are just some things to keep in mind. Is there anything that you want to like share with people in terms of like what to look for if they're going to like be looking at a property for like shared housing? Or are there any big mistakes that you made getting started that you want people to avoid?
I would say, I don't know, a big mistake. I can't say anything was big because I'd had a ton of property management experience anyway. So it really was like not anything different. I'm like, oh, I'm just renting out these rooms instead of like the house. It's just making sure that you have a lot of policies and procedures in place, and like you keep those in effect, because it's like when you rent out like one apartment, you're just renting that out to one person. But when it's shared housing, that's 3 different rentals that you basically are managing. So just making sure that stuff is, that you have policies and procedures, and then making sure that like the people are a good fit too. So I don't just take the first person that is like, oh, hey, I'm available and I got some money. It's like, well, what's your, cause I have a whole like criteria. Like, have you ever lived in an environment like this? Like, what is your income? Do you know that this is a room rental and that you're going to have a shared common space? So people are like, they know exactly. They know what is going on in here. So it's super important that they understand that. So. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I think that's all I have for questions. Okay. Thank you so much, Darcie, for coming. Thank you. Today. It was wonderful. Bye. Okay.